Australia at 61%. In contrast, traditional Western democracies are seeing far lower levels of public satisfaction. Only 37% of Americans and 48% of Brits reported being satisfied with the state of their democracy. Now, while Canada stood at 60%, France, Italy, Greece, satisfaction levels fell down to 33%, 33% and 19% respectively. So look at that, the satisfaction levels dropping. Greece is just at 19% right now. Now, across the 12 high-income nations that Pew has tracked since 2017, including the United States, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Japan and Canada, a median of 64% of adults now say they are dissatisfied. They are dissatisfied with the way democracy is working, while only 35% are satisfied. Now have a look at South Korea. 63% of the respondents are unhappy with the way democracy is functioning in South Korea. Brazil is at 59%, 54% Argentina. South Africa is at 63% of dissatisfaction level. Whereas in terms of the developed nations, some of the rich nations, there's a steep drop from 2017 when satisfaction and dissatisfaction were evenly at 49%. But now it's dropped down satisfaction levels to just a median of 35%. Now, satisfaction returned to this level during the COVID-19 pandemic, but has declined further in the years since. That's what Pew has noted in its analysis, pointing out that erosion in satisfaction does not necessarily mean that people are turning away from democratic values. At the same time, many are frustrated with the political elite or feel their views are not being truly represented in government. So those who are elected or those who are supposed responsible for ensuring democracy functions are not doing their job. That's the feedback. The report also highlights a clear link between economic sentiment and satisfaction with democracy. Countries where large shares of public say their economy is in good shape also tend to have large shares who are satisfied with their democracy, the survey has observed. Bharat, along with Indonesia, Mexico, the Netherlands and Sweden, were cited as nations where people are relatively happy with both their democracy and their economy. Well, on that note, let's now set up the big debate or the face-off electoral politics. Bharat as a democracy, these are key critical functions. And one of the most important aspects is that for a democracy to function, the voting process, the polling process, all have to function properly. And for that, the poll panel has to ensure that there is a robust voter list. So the process of an intensive revision or that is or an SIR, now that has been put in place with respect to Bihar. The poll panel says all is well. But politicians, especially the opposition, believe all is not well. Leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha and Congress MP Rahul Gandhi has alleged that the Election Commission was attempting to steal votes in Bihar, just as he claimed it had done in Maharashtra. Though this allegation did not stand the test of legal scrutiny, with the High Court junking this out. But Rahul Gandhi added, however, that the people of Bihar would not allow this to happen, asserting that any such manipulation would rob them of their future. Addressing workers of the opposition India bloc after participating in a protest march in Patna against the Special Intensive Revision (SIR) of the electoral rolls ahead of the Bihar Assembly elections, part of which included a chakka jam or a road blockade along with even rail blockade, Rahul Gandhi stated, and I quote, "The EC should know that this is Bihar and the people of this state will never allow the election body to steal the mandate here after what it did in Maharashtra and Haryana. The Election Commission has countered his claims over and over again. But Rahul Gandhi keeps attacking the constitutional body with a copy of the constitution in his hand. So is that outright respect or disrespect of Samvidhan? Interestingly, the Samvidhan that he holds in his hand is post-1978. Well, that's a separate matter. Meanwhile, the BJP has countered Rahul and Tejaswi's allegations, saying that they want to protect themselves and their families from losses.
The election commissioner, BJP और RSS जैसे बात कर रहे हैं। ये सिर्फ आपसे वोट चोरी नहीं हो रहा है, ये आपका भविष्य चोरी हो रहा है। आपसे आपका जो आपका हक जो बनता है, जो रोजगार है, आपका धन है, ये सब आपसे चोरी किया जाएगा।
ये दरअसल ईसी का नहीं, ये सीसी का मामला है। ईसी इलेक्शन कमीशन है, सीसी कंडीशनल कमिटमेंट है। इन दोनों का मतलब तेजस्वी जी का और राहुल गांधी जी का कमिटमेंट परिवार तंत्र को ज़्यादा है, संवैधानिक तंत्र को कम है। इसीलिए जुडिशरी से फैसला मेरे पक्ष में है तब ठीक है, जुडिशरी मेरे परिवार को कन्विक्ट कर दे तो जुडिशरी खराब।
लोकतंत्र को खत्म करना चाहते हैं, ये हम बिहार के लोग हर किस नहीं होने देंगे, नहीं होने देंगे।
4 करोड़ लोगों ने फॉर्म जमा कर दिया, अब बचा क्या? इसका मतलब है 52% 53% लोग ये चाहते हैं कि इसकी समीक्षा हो और जो फर्जी वोटर हैं उनका नाम कटे।
Get back to that part. In an apparent snub, Congress leaders Kanhaiya Kumar and Pappu Yadav were actually stopped from boarding the truck that held the senior Mahagathbandhan leaders, including Rahul Gandhi and Tejaswi Yadav. And this happened earlier today. Pappu Yadav was literally pushed out. Kanhaiya Kumar was pushed out. Pappu Yadav was not even allowed to board that bus. So clearly Tejaswi is the one who's calling the shots even within the Mahagathbandhan. There he was. He was trying to get there onto the truck, on board the truck. He was actually pushed off that truck. We'll get you those pictures in a bit. Even as there were chakka jam, we'll get you those pictures where Kanhaiya Kumar and Pappu Yadav were shown the way out of that truck, because despite them being close to Rahul Gandhi, Tejaswi Yadav, Lalu Yadav, the RJD want no truck with this lot, or with these two. Meanwhile, despite Rahul Gandhi and Tejaswi Yadav's claims, the Election Commission has claimed in a latest response that, and EC sources have said, there is no confusion in the field. The process is as per the SIR orders. So why are people deliberately trying to misinform and spook the voter? The process will continue. There is no change in the instruction at all. And furthermore, the ECI sources have added that it's unclear as to why some are trying to create confusion over this entire process and mislead. In fact, we have some data even as we say namaste and good evening to our two panelists this evening. It's a direct face-off between the BJP and the RJD. Tuhin Sinha, national spokesperson of the BJP is with us. And we also have with us Dr. Ravi Shankar Ravi of the RJD. Well, namaste and Jai Hind to you, gentlemen. Thank you very, very much. The Election Commission has said, and some former election commissioners also, Ravi Shankar Ravi ji, that nearly 65% of the electoral base finds its mention in 2003 records. So, unka to naam cut nahi raha. And the remaining, nearly about 2.8 crore of these applications have been already collected. And there is enough and more time for a review or anybody who finds their name cut off the rolls. तो सब कुछ सुचारू रूप से चल रहा है ग्राउंड पर, तो ये किस बात का डर बिठाया जा रहा है?
If you have to just collect the enumeration form, then of course it is very easy. You can collect in 2 days, 3 days. But the issue is not that. This is not a revision. Addition and deletion from the electoral roll is a normal, usual process. It happens all through the year. But this time it is a renewal, that too with a sudden announcement. It is SIR, where whatever is the cutoff date and whatever is the cutoff, of whichever year you are taking it. But in January 2024 Lok Sabha election, the list is not being considered. The electoral roll is not being considered.
No, because as per article...
The bone of contention is about the documents being asked. The easy, common, easily available documents are not being considered, like Aadhaar, Manrega, voter card, which the Election Commission itself issues. So there is the problem. What will happen as a consequence? Less educated, uneducated laborer and the migrant laborer who are registered migrant laborer working in different states of India, they will be excluded, they will be disenfranchised from their voting rights.
No, that is no. You are. Do you have
compelled
proof?
The opposition
No,
parties.
but Ravi Shankar ji, do you have proof of the same, or is this again maybe and therefore the classic leftist supposition and therefore conclusion? maybe they may not be able to do it, and therefore we believe it is flawed. Because the Election Commission has said 77,000 BLOs, 4 lakh volunteers, and that includes 1.5 lakh BLAs appointed by all political parties, are actually involved in this process. More than 2.8 crore enumeration forms have been collected. And the number out of this about 7 crore, 7.5 crore base, करीब 5 crore voter तो already find their name in the 2003 list. 2003 के list में आपका नाम है तो कुछ नहीं होने वाला.
Not ensuring.
And R is not renewal, sir. In SIR, R is revision. Revision is different than renewal.
No, in the guise of revision, it is being renewed.
No,
and
how
there
are
is
you
the
going?
problem.
No, prove that. You have to prove that, sir. The
I'm
other
proving
point.
it, na?
No, the other point is, if there is a
Aadhaar,
voter,
your own
then-
voter
no,
card,
I'm asking you one more
your
thing.
Manrega,
I'm
your
also
ration
asking
card
you
will
one.
not be
I'm also
considered.
asking you one more thing, Ravi Shankar ji. Do you believe if there is a Bihari person who is working, who has a voter ID of Bihar but also holds a voter ID elsewhere in the country, is that not a fraud with democracy? Should they have 2 voter ID cards?
Yes, it can be revised in the usual process which happen all through the year.
Yeah, but now the new, but the new condition says not just 1st of January, sir. Sir, the
you are
ECI
asking passport.
No, the ECI.
You are asking matriculation
Okay, let the
certificate.
BJP
You are
answer that.
asking birth
I'll come to
certificate.
that. I'm going to Tuhin Sinha, but I just also like to tell our viewers that as per the revised mandate, earlier it used to be that the revision has to happen around the 1st of January of every year. But now there are 4 dates that are applicable: 1st of January, 1st of April, 1st of July, and also 1st of October. So there are 4 dates that are applicable. So the ECI is only going around about as per the revised mandate. Tuhin Sinha, ये आपके फायदे के लिए, when I say आप means not the Aam Aadmi Party but the BJP, the ruling disposition, उनके फायदे के लिए, for the NDA, this is being done. And a lot of names have been called of the Election Commission, RSS agents, BJP agents, Bikau Ayog, lot of things have been called.
Essentially, in the last 2 weeks, RJD and Congress have had multiple opportunities to explain their grouse. And unfortunately, they have not grown beyond what if, therefore, but, and what not. I think they have started playing the victim once again. The only difference being that, in the past we have seen them play the victim after the elections. This time they have started playing the victim 4 months before the elections are supposed to take place. Now, as you rightly mentioned, there are some 2.8 crore people who have to furnish, fresh details. And why? Because, Aadhaar is not accepted, legally it is not accepted as a document for citizenship. It is an identity document. So this has been even in the 2018 Supreme Court judgment, this had been particularly highlighted. Now, why should RJD and RSS have a problem? Even for that matter, some of our, voters may find themselves excluded. We are not particularly panicking. Why are they panicking? And this raises serious questions in the area of Simanchal, and particularly in the districts of Katihar, Araria. There have been, greater, the number of Aadhaar cards exceed the total number of population. So there has been some anomaly, and that needs to be cleared. I think, the step should have been ideally appreciated. This should have been appreciated because in the previous election in Maharashtra, they complained, in the last time around, they complained that there were 40 lakh extra voters. At one point of time, Rahul Gandhi claimed there were 70 lakh extra voters. This time, if the Election Commission is being extra cautious in ensuring that only genuine voters get to vote, what problem should the Congress party have? This is something they have not been able to explain. And like, we have been pointing out, and Election Commission has maintained this. In the last time the election, this process took place in 2003, it took 3 weeks to complete the entire process. This time we are aided with technology. This time equally, if the maximum
Tejasvi
it should take
Yadav's
is 3
allegation
weeks.
today was that बिहार में वोटर्स को बिहारी होने के बावजूद वोटर लिस्ट में शामिल नहीं किया जाएगा. Bihari voters will be excluded from voter list despite having perhaps the right to vote there.
बांग्लादेशियों को बिहारी मानने लगे, नहीं, अगर आप घुसपैठियों को भी आप डिक्लेयर करने लगे बिहारी, तो वो तो आपकी समस्या है ना, वो आपकी समस्या है. जो इस देश के कानून ने कुछ डॉक्यूमेंट्स को प्रमाण माना है सिटीजनशिप का, अगर आप उसके परे जाकर आधार कार्ड में ही मैनिपुलेशन करते हैं तो इसका अर्थ तो ये नहीं ना कि जो भी आ गया यहाँ, जो भी घुसपैठिया है, सबको सिटीजन बना दिया जाएगा. देखिए, इलेक्शन कमीशन इज फॉलोइंग अ प्रोसेस. वी सपोर्ट दैट प्रोसेस एंड इलेक्शन कमीशन हैज रिपीटेडली प्रोवाइडेड देम क्लैरिफिकेशंस व्हिच दे रिफ्यूज टू एक्नॉलेज, व्हिच दे रिफ्यूज टू कॉम्प्रिहेंड और असिमिलेट. So the problem really lies with the opposition. They need to have an open mind rather than, drub the election commission as a villain.
But what is the feedback that the BJP is getting on ground? Is there resistance from voters? Is there apprehension? Are there nearly 2 crore voters who may not find themselves in the voter list now? These are the kind of claims that are being made by the opposition.
The voters are extremely cooperative. Anand, if you see, this is a pattern they have, the what if and therefore politics is a pattern they have followed in the last 5 years. They did the same thing on CA. What if this happens? What if that happens? They have done this on every issue. So the voters have been extremely cooperative. There is no tension. There is no stress among voters across Bihar. And even Tejasvi and Rahul Gandhi realizes that these are going to be one-sided elections. If you recall 2 days ago, Tejasvi Yadav had to invoke Mohammed Shahabuddin, the dreaded criminal who at one point of time was found to have links with Pakistan's ISI. If this is the politics they want to bring back in Bihar and in the country, then obviously they have lots to worry. But obviously they will not accept their shortcomings. They will not accept their mistake. They will pin the blame on the election commission for their defeat.
Okay, let Ravi Shankar Raviji respond. We had lost him momentarily because he couldn't hear us properly. Abhi awaaz aa rahi hai, sir? Can you hear us?
Better.
All right. Okay. Go ahead, please. Now, the thing is, where is this? Do you have, sir, one case study, one naya paisa of proof, if I may say so very respectfully, for all the claims that are being made? There are claims made that more than 2 crore voters will find themselves struck off the list. Where is the proof?
See, I will not. I mean, I'm not going to go into these number details. For 100 of illegal voters, you cannot disenfranchise lakhs of voters, and lakhs of voters should not feel threatened. Is Prime Minister Modi an illegal Prime Minister? Because the January 2024 voter list was used in the election? No. So this intensive revision, if this is intensive revision, this could have taken place after few months, with due consultation with all the stakeholders. What happened when all the opposition political parties in a delegation met the election commission? The dogmatism of election commission is beyond comprehension, and BJP is acting as the spokesperson of election commission, and election commission is behaving as the rubber stamp of BJP. This is what is happening.
Are you trying to say no? 1 minute. Again, maybe and therefore. I just want to ask: is there one naya paisa of proof that only Mahagathbandhan voters' names are going to be struck off this list?
Again,
On all those. I'm just asking you now. When political parties after the elections, what was said? Voter list mein dhandli hai. What did the Congress go to court on the Maharashtra polls, saying voter list mein dhandli? They lost the case. But Rahul Gandhi has repeated the same thing again today.
This is a different case. This is unprecedented. This is unique.
So what is unprecedented? Where are lakhs of voters disenfranchised? Where is it? Tell me, show me the proof. Show me the proof that there are lakhs of voters who are disenfranchised.
I want to share some of the data. The listed documents in the notification are passport, which only 2.4% of Bihari citizens have. Birth certificate only 2.8%, government and pensioner card 5%, matriculation certificate less than 50% people have matriculation certificate, caste certificate, SC category people only 20% of people have caste certificate, OBC 25%, but 2.9 crore approximately registered migrant laborers are working in other parts of the country. I am not saying that who will lose, who will win, what percentage of vote is going to affect what party. It is about democracy. It is about voting right. It is about exercising the franchise. Why should
So
people-
these voters, these migrant voters, are you saying they don't have ration card? Are you saying domicile
Yes,
certificate
this
is
is
not
what
happening? No. So
in
domicile
the
domicile certificate is not there. These migrant
It-
labor, migrant Biharis who are there elsewhere in the country have not voted at all before.
let me
If
complete.
they have a voter ID, sir, 65% of the voter base, current voter base, has already voted in 2003 of the
There
Bihar
are-
voter base. So if they have a 2003 voter ID, then there is not there, they won't be disenfranchised. The other allegation that's being made is, in areas like Simanchal, how is it that there are suddenly 10 lakh people who have now moved on to make domicile certificates? That's what the Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar is asking. Who are these people in these border areas who suddenly want to make domicile certificates? Who are these people? Are you okay with non-Biharis, illegals, Rohingya, Bangladeshi who have moved in there? Should they
No.
participate in the Bihar electoral process?
We are concerned about the citizens, the eligible citizens of Bihar who are either less educated or uneducated or laborers or who do not have proper documentations.
No.
What is not in the list? No, give me some time, please.
No. Okay. What do you mean
Aadhaar
by...
is not considered, ration card is not considered, voter card is not considered, driving license is not considered, Manrega card is not considered.
1 minute. If this voter card and if they are part of the 2003 process, the Election Commission has said they will be automatically in the list. If your name is in the voter ID list and if you are a registered voter and you are able to identify, then it will be done. But sir, if you have 2 voter IDs or 3 voter IDs, that means wherever your city of Karmbhumi
That
is
can
and
be
your Janmbhumi
eliminated.
is, and if you are playing this game and say Bihar mein bhi hum vote dalenge,
Who is
Delhi mein bhi
playing the
dalenge,
game, the
Bihar mein bhi
country
vote dalenge,
understands.
Maharashtra mein bhi dalenge, that cannot be done, sir. That's
No,
fraud
no,
on
that should
democracy.
not be done. And we are not in favor of that.
Okay.
We
Now,
are not in
Tuhin
favor
Sinha
of
respond.
that.
Tuhin Sinha respond. That voters are being disenfranchised
Well, my
because of
friend
certain
from-
documents which are being allowed and which are not. Yes, please.
My friend from RJT mentioned some data, and one of the data which I find, contentious. He says that 50% of Biharis don't have matriculation certificate. I don't think that's true because Biharis are extremely learned people. Tejasvi Yadav might be an exception, but otherwise Biharis are extremely educated people. So I don't think, again, they should
No, do
create
you have
all
the data?
kinds
No,
of speculation
No,
till
he
the
is
process
making
is over.
personal allegations. Is
Let
it about that?
let
Till
us
the
make
process-
arguments.
till
What
the
is the
process
sanctity of
is
private
over.
process
We have had a sane,
Over.
we have had a
Data.
sane discourse. Let's not make personal jibes at anybody. Even if Tejasvi Yadav is not there to defend himself here.
He's
So
casting
I don't think
aspersions
that's
on the
why-
education,
sir,
on
I
the
don't
education
think
level of Biharis.
I don't think that is fair. Yeah,
No,
you can make the matriculation argument, but let's deter from it. We can. Yes, please. Go ahead, please.
Sure. So in the next 1 month max, today is 9 July, I'm sure this entire process will get over by 9th of August. Now, you are assuming that certain people will be disenfranchised. For all you know, the Election Commission might let them off with a warning, with an extended date that in the next few months you got to get these documents in place. But at any point of time, a revision should be welcomed if you want to operate transparently, if you want to operate honestly. But Anand, I also have a feeling that it's the entire Indy Alliance states which are jittery and which are actually putting added pressure on Tejasvi Yadav and Rahul Gandhi. For example, I know for a fact that Jharkhand Chief Minister is extremely jittery that when the exercise takes place in Jharkhand, a similar can of worms will emerge from the Santhal Parganas area. Mamata Banerjee is equally jittery. So this is a pattern which has existed across Indy Alliance states. They have been rehabilitating, they have been settling illegal migrants illegally, and I think this is something which they have been caught on the wrong foot this time.
Yes.
Yeah, revision can take place and should take place following the usual process. And this time, the onus is on the voters, on the citizens to prove that they are the citizens, they are the voters. Earlier, it was the responsibility of the state to include the legitimate voters and exclude the illegitimate voters. There shouldn't be any doubt. But this time, it is the entire burden of proof is on the voters, and there are so many voters, as I said earlier, who are not that educated, who do not have proper documentation, and in the from the 2000 those whose names are there in 2003 list, they also have to fill the form with a copy of the electoral roll where their names are written.
Correct.
Yeah. So, and the on whom is the onus?
Sir, the list.
On whom is
sir,
the
you
onus?
can find the list online. How difficult is that? आपका
Do you
वोटर आईडी
think
चेक करेंगे तो
that-
वोटर आईडी वहां
No,
पे
you
जो
know,
जो
no.
जो पोलिंग बूथ है,
Flood
it is there, sir. It
affected
is,
area.
sir, and there are, sir, 70,000.
At this short time in flood affected area,
Sir, there are
and this is
70,000
one category.
BLOs, 70,000 BLOs, 4 lakh volunteers, पॉलिटिकल पार्टी का 1.5 लाख लोग है, ये लोग सब कर रहे हैं सर ग्राउंड पर. एंड
ठीक है,
वोटर
we
अगर
are
आपको
fighting
करना है तो
this.
करना है. वोटर को अगर वोट देना है, बिहार
Our
का वोटर
volunteers
वोटिंग
are
नहीं छोड़ता है
also
सर.
working at the
You know
ground.
that very well that the Bihar voter, there are other cities, other states where the voters show lethargy. But when it comes to Bihar, the Bihari voter is very holds their vote very precious. They will do whatever they can to come down and vote. So it is possible. So rather than helping this, why are you trying to create this entire fear-mongering system and this atmosphere of trying to spook the voter?
We are engaged at different levels.
No.
There is
What
awareness
Mr.
program.
Tejaswi,
Even
what
as
Mr.
we are
Tejaswi
speaking,
Yadav said as leader opposition in the
Anand ji,
Bihar
are
Assembly is irresponsible,
protesting.
sir, what he said today. He should not say that. He should say कि आप
even
इतना
as
कराइए
we
कि
are
अपना पंजीकरण
speaking-
कराइए, कुछ भी हो अपना
नहीं,
वोटर
आप-
लिस्ट में नाम ऐड कराइए. That's what he
What
should be saying.
about those who
Yes,
are
to him.
born after
You know,
2003?
Even as we are speaking, the ECI has brought out yet another clarification, the umpteenth clarification, very clearly highlighting the 4 pillars of SIR.
Ji.
This entire process is likely to get over by 1st August, after which you have adequate time to appeal. So subsequent appeals which are genuine and which can be proved, which can prove the ECI wrong, will equally be entertained. Please realize the elections are, there is some time before the elections are announced. The elections probably will happen towards October end, November. There is adequate time for a cleanup, and this cleanup should be supported by parties working in national interest rather than, casting aspersions on the ECI once again.
Right. Now, the Election Commission has not only tried to allay all fears of political parties, but has also been categorical in stating that the revision is absolutely necessary. Firstly, it has clarified that while no change has been made with the SIR orders, strict condition is submission of the enumeration forms, because it is to be included in the draft rolls, and these forms have to be submitted, and they have already been distributed to all existing voters in Bihar. The other part, what they are saying, that those who are traveling can fill the enumeration forms online also. Necessary documents to prove eligibility as per Article 326 can always be submitted until the 25th of July or even during the claims and objection period thereafter. The ECI has also maintained that the process is progressing smoothly, as all voters have been directly made aware through more than 77,000 BLOs, 4 lakh volunteers and 1.5 lakh BLAs, block level, at the level, appointed by all political parties or booth level appointees, and that too 1.5 lakh of them. Now, here's what the AIMIM is saying. People won't just miss vote, but they will face livelihood issue too. So the Election Commission is saying crackdown is needed on illegal immigrants from other countries. There is also the RJD stand. The RJD stand is stakeholders have not been consulted before taking the decision by the Election Commission. Election Commission is saying more than half the voters have already submitted forms. When individually parties were spoken to, all of them raised concerns over the electoral roll. So the SIR was decided upon, and there is a mandate that the EC can do it. Now, whether it is intensive or otherwise, that's a call that had to be taken, and in Bihar it needed to be done. Congress's stand, devious and dubious move to willfully exclude voters from the list. Now, they have repeated this despite losing the case in Maharashtra. Opposition questioned the Maharashtra rolls, and they had to act before the Bihar polls. So, even though the court junked the electoral process or any aji-baji in Maharashtra, the Electoral Commission is saying आपका concern था तो हम आपके लिए अगले चुनाव से पहले कर रहे हैं तो आप इधर कर रहे हो. So if you are here, then you say X, and if you are here, you say Y. How is it changed between Maharashtra and Bihar? Is a question that's being asked to the Congress party. Let's look at the Trinamool Congress. The Trinamool Congress stand is akin to NRC exercise aimed to target West Bengal polls next year. Revision of electoral rolls aims to restore trust of public and parties. That's what they are saying. The CPM, the left, is saying 1 month is not enough for voters to submit identification document. The EC is saying the decision is in accordance with the Article 326 that ensures adult suffrage. And there is also enough and more time because it's July now. They have time at least till end August, early September before the electoral rolls are finalized, because elections will not be before end October or early November. So that's what the understanding is. So that's why things stand. But there is also another development that has happened, and I'm just going to segue into the Bihar story only, even as we put out what Rahul's charge and the Election Commission has said. NDA won 47 seats after 50,000 voters were added. This was with respect to Maharashtra. Only 6 seats have total additions of over 50,000. That's what the Election Commission's rebuttal was. And then arbitrary deletions were done. Average deletions of 2,779 electors per seat. That's the deletion. And 72 lakh voters added after Lok Sabha elections. 40.81 lakh added, including 8.72 lakh in the 18 to 19 age group. So that number itself, suddenly these 32 lakh numbers, where did Mr. Rahul Gandhi cook that up from is a question, and he's never been able to show this number of 75 lakhs. Where is this number coming from? 72 lakh voters. Inexplicable increase in voting post 5 p.m. Impossible to change actual voter turnout. You cannot. Because if voters are coming to exercise their right, if you have stood in that queue at 6 p.m., even if it takes you 6:45, if you are there at 6 p.m., you have the right to vote till the queue is over. So that's the election. More people voted than total people in the state. 9.7 crore voters. Total votes cast were 6.4 crore voters. So how are these claims being made? Tuin Sinha and Dr. Ravi, these are questions. When you make an allegation, there has to be some foundation, some basis to it. Na? 10 करोड़ वोटर में से 6 करोड़ वोटर वोट डालता है, आप कह रहे हैं कि जितने वोटर है उससे ज्यादा वोट डाल दिए. ऐसे लोगों को लोग कैसे बिलीव करेंगे, बताइए.
The revision is taking place, right? Revision should take place following the usual procedure, as had happened in past years. This time, they are asking the document, as I mentioned, which so many people, I mean, lakhs and lakhs of people do not have. From where will they produce those certificates?
Okay, we're going to go run around in circles. So I just have another 3-4 minutes on these pictures. Dr. Ravishankar Ravi, let me ask you this, we'll segue from this conversation. During this entire noise that was being made about the electoral rolls and this chakka jam, there were 2 pictures that stood out. One is of Kanhaiya Kumar being pushed out of that truck. Congress ke leader hai, neta hai. And the other one, Pappu Yadav, who was not even allowed to get on board. Dhakka maar ke unko lita diya sadak pe.
But as we come closer to the elections, and the seat sharing discussions start between the two parties, RJD and Congress, you will see Rahul Gandhi and the entire Congress being pushed away from Bihar. So this is the reality. These people are fighting among each other. They don't have any self-dignity. At least the Congress party is at the mercy of RJD. So, mark my words, Anand, as we come closer to the elections and seat sharing discussions start, Congress and Rahul Gandhi will be pushed away from Bihar in the same manner. Reports are they will not be offered, they will not be given more than 35 seats because their conversion rate last time was less than 25%. Was roughly in the range of 25%. So, they have a tough battle ahead. They know that, and which only brings me to my original point that they know the results. The results of a foregone conclusion. Bihar will never go back to the dark age when you required a Lalten. बिहार उस दौर से निकल चुका है, वापस उसमें नहीं जाने वाला है. और ये डर जो है इनको इतना सता रहा है कि अभी से जो है इलेक्शन कमीशन को बदनाम करने में लगे हुए हैं. एक और बात पर आप गौर कीजिए आनंद कि किस प्रकार से आप ये अलग अलग स्टेजेस में पिछले साल इस समय जो है ईवीएम टैंपरिंग के आरोप लगा रहे थे राहुल गांधी. वो ईवीएम टैंपरिंग का आरोप अब भूल गए. उसके बाद वोटर मैनिपुलेशन का आरोप आया कि एक्सेस वोटर्स आए हैं. अब वो भी नहीं, अब ये आ रहा है कि वो डिसइनफ्रेंचाइज किया जाएगा. तो अलग अलग तरीके से इनका मकसद, इनका उद्देश्य केवल ये है कि हमारे संवैधानिक संस्थाओं को बदनाम करना, और ये चीज जो है भारत अब बर्दाश्त नहीं करने वाला है.
Well, what the voter decides is up to the voter. But Dr. Ravi Shankar Ravi, ये alliance, is it all okay? पप्पू यादव and कन्हैया कुमार का ऐसा स्वागत क्यों हुआ है? What has happened?
NDA should also look at their own chemistry with their coalition partners. I will come to this, but before that, I want to make 3 points.
Here there was no chemistry, there was physics.
Very briefly.
Physical
See,
physics.
we are working and we are engaged at different levels. At the ground level, we are involved in the awareness program. Our volunteers are engaged. On the streets, on the roads, we are protesting because the voting rights are in danger. Voting rights of millions of people are in danger. We have also filed TIL in the Supreme Court. So from the road to the court, we are fighting. And for the first time, the Election Commission, due to the behavior of Election Commission, it has invited itself into public scrutiny and ridicule. Invited ridicule.
You are trying to very conveniently sidestep my question.
Now I am coming to your question.
That is a very smart way of side. I am asking you one thing.
No,
does the RJD believe?
I could not complete that. That is why
this time they do not want anybody. लालटेन पे हाथ चाहिए ही नहीं.
No.
Is the RJD thinking by बिना कांग्रेस के जीत लेंगे? जरूरत नहीं.
No. See, it was a protest rally called by all the opposition parties, the Mahagathbandhan, and representatives from all the parties. The tallest leader of Congress, Rahul Gandhi, he was very much there. Other parties, leaders of other parties were also there. So all the parties were represented. Now, who was there on the truck, who was not there on the truck? I think asking these kinds of questions
it was
and
not
raising
about
this
who was
issue
there,
by
who was allowed and who was not allowed.
Trivializing.
It is not trivializing. एक सांसद है against all odds RJD, Congress, BJP सबको हरा के NDA को हरा के वहाँ सांसद बने. The other one was somebody who was not long ago sharing the stage with both Tejaswi and Rahul Gandhi. And Rahul Gandhi ने उनको बड़ा करके खड़ा किया है. And उनको ही आपने धक्का मार दिया. So I'm just asking you, does the RJD believe कि कांग्रेस जितना दूर रहे अच्छा है? राहुल गांधी जी भी पैरा ड्रॉप करके पैरा वापसी हो गए थे. So these are all questions that will remain. Pictures speak louder than words. I wish everybody all the best, sir. I wish everybody all the best. पहला 2 फेज कैसा गया आपका लास्ट टाइम अराउंड? आपने देखा आरजेडी का. तीसरा फेज क्या हो गया आपने देखा. 100 सीट में से कांग्रेस कितना जीती आपने देखा. Everybody saw it. So these are all questions that will be asked, and it's going to be a tough fight. All the best to everyone. Thank you Tuhin Sinha, and thank you Dr. Ravi Shankar Ravi. Good to see our panelists smiling at the end of a debate. Thank you. Now let's get a move on, and this is serious, viewers. The Financial Action Task Force, there's a fresh report that's come out that very clearly has defined state-sponsored terrorism for the first time, and it could make things worse for Pakistan and bolster Bharat's case on why Islamabad should be added to the grey list. The Department of Revenue, which comes under the Finance Ministry, has so far sent 3 letters to the FATF explaining why Pakistan should be on the grey list. The report defines state-sponsored terrorism as a state actively financing terrorist activities as part of its policy. And before this, Bharat had identified state-sponsored terrorism from Pakistan, emanating from Pakistan, as a source of terrorist financing risk. And this was in its risk assessment in 2022. The findings of the report reinforced Bharat's position. Pakistan-based terror outfits such as the Lashkar-e-Taiba, the Jaish-e-Mohammed, the Tariq-e-Taliban Pakistan, TTP, remain a global threat as per the FATF. The report also highlights the funding patterns of the LET and the Jaish, which are among the UNSC designated terror groups operating with transnational networks. The TTP continues to exploit porous borders and tribal zones for fundraising and arms movement, it states. The FATF report has flagged state sponsorship of terrorism as a continuing global threat, implicitly indicting rogue support systems. The terror groups in cross-border operations, fundraising via informal channels, getting logistics and recruitment support. Now, how does the anti-terror watchdog report bolster Bharat's stand? Let's try and take you through the big highlights. The first highlight: state actors continue to support terror groups. Big mention, this one. Secondly, terror groups operate freely. The third highlight: terror groups access funding globally. Need for ongoing vigilance on terror acts. Highlight 4. The next one: presence of active rebranded terror-linked networks. Highlight 6. Hawala systems used for moving funds across borders. The next highlight: charities in Pakistan misused to raise and route funds. Online gaming platforms used for terror funding and recruitment. Big one, this. Gaming forums used by terrorists to communicate freely. Gaming forums used to recruit vulnerable youth. Terrorists launder funds through virtual goods. That means e-commerce platforms are being used, and a reference was being made to Pulwama and also to the Gorakhpur blasts in 2022. Now, here is the terror financing modus. Hawala, unlicensed remittance systems were used. Funds moved across borders. Cash-based informal economy along the border is being used. Funds via charities in Pakistan are raised and routed. Social media and messaging apps are used. Crowdfunding and foreign donations via apps. Cryptocurrencies for covert terror financing is also being used. Now, the lens is also on online gaming as a method of funding and recruitment as per the FATF report. Games allow cross-border value transfers. Transfers are difficult to trace. In-game assets converted into real money. Minimal KYC enforcement on gaming forums. Encrypted chat features bypass surveillance. Wallet top-ups. Voucher resales. Vulnerable to abuse. Anti-terror watchdog on the 2019 Pulwama strike has also gone ahead and said e-commerce platforms used for terror funding. Aluminium powder used in the attack was procured via EPOM, Amazon. Aluminium powder used to enhance blast impact. FATF on the 2022 Gorakhnath temple attack has gone on to say online payment service and VPNs were used. Attacker transferred 6,69,849 rupees via PayPal. VPN services used to obscure IP address. Attacker received 10,323.35 from foreign source. Accused used VPN for calling, chatting, downloading. The accused made payment to a VPN provider. 44 international third-party transactions totaling to 6,69,841. This is all mentioned in the FATF report. Online gaming platforms, e-commerce platforms, cash transactions, and state sponsor of terrorism. 5 big highlights in the latest FATF report that could further put Pakistan in trouble and internally raise some alarm bells on certain platforms and how porous or transparent they should be, or how opaque and encrypted they should be. Let's get a move on. Shifting focus, the National Investigation Agency, or the NIA, has uncovered deeply alarming Lashkar-e-Taiba LET radicalization network operating inside Bharat, and that too in Karnataka's prison system, marking a significant shift in the terror group's operational strategy. This is an internal terror infrastructure that's been exported by the Lashkar into Bharat. There are traitors within. According to top intelligence sources, LET is no longer relying solely on cross-border infiltration, but is instead establishing an internal jihadist infrastructure within Indian high-security prisons, with Bengaluru at its core. The latest NIA crackdown exposed a sophisticated terror logistics and radicalization model running from inside the prison walls, exploiting institutional weaknesses. The agency's investigation revealed that convicted terrorist T. Nasir, a life convict lodged in Bengaluru Central Prison, acted as the ideological and operational command node of this network. Using smuggled mobile phones, Nasir coordinated fund flows, issued orders, and orchestrated activities beyond the prison confines, effectively turning the jail into a hub for terror planning. The conspiracy involved collusion from within the prison system itself, Dr. Nagaraj, the prison psychiatrist, facilitated the smuggling of mobile devices to Nasir, while Assistant Sub-Inspector Chan Pasha of the City Armed Reserve provided crucial intelligence on Nasir's court visit movements in exchange for bribes. Further extending the network, Anis Fatima, mother of an absconding accused named Junaid Ahmed, acted as a key intermediary, transmitting Nasir's instructions to her son, who is believed to be operating from the Gulf and remains integral to the Lashkar South India logistics. The NIA raids in Bengaluru and Kolar led to arrests of Nagaraj, Chan Pasha and Anis Fatima. Multiple digital devices, cash, gold and radical material were recovered, pointing to operational funding and encrypted communication channels used to maintain the network's secrecy and reach. Now, this case underscores a worrying evolution in LET's tactics, from relying on physical infiltration across borders to embedding itself within domestic ecosystems such as prisons and police forces. Intel agencies now warn that similar models of radicalization and terror chain building may be active in other high-security prisons across the country, particularly where inmates from Bihar and other sensitive regions are held. Sources reveal that LET's incarcerated operatives, many highly versed in technology, are using prisons like Bengaluru Central and fertile grounds for indoctrination, recruitment and digital logistics. Under trial inmates, marginalized youth and even prison staff have become targets for radicalization, turning correctional facilities into incubators for terror networks. This is a serious concern, viewers. The investigation connects back to an earlier case involving seizures of arms, explosives and encrypted communication tools from LET's operatives in Bengaluru, which were traced directly to Nasir's orders from prison. Now, so far, 9 individuals have been charge-sheeted under the UAPA, or the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, Arms Act, the Indian Penal Code, or the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita now. The NIA has issued warnings to prison authorities worldwide and nationwide, especially in jails housing Bihari inmates, to remain vigilant against such internal terror modules. Now, this evolving threat highlights the urgent need for tighter security protocols and surveillance mechanisms within correctional institutions. There is more with respect to our security system and our internal security, viewers. Shifting focus from Karnataka to Punjab. Now, this is big, and this is activation of the K2 model by the Pakistanis. In a recent intelligence-led operation, the Anti-Gangster Task Force, or the AGTF of Punjab Police, thwarted a significant terror plot connected to Harvinder Singh Rinda, a Pakistan-based operative of the Babbar Khalsa International, or BKI. Leveraging credible intelligence, the Anti-Gangster Task Force recovered a high-grade weapons cache from forest area in Gurdaspur, thereby averting its delivery to Rinda's ground associates. DGP Punjab Gaurav Yadav has confirmed that this arms dump, consisting of 2 AK-47 rifles, 16 live cartridges, 2 magazines and 2 P-86 hand grenades, was part of a larger ISAF-backed terror scheme targeting Punjab. Sources reveal that Gurdaspur's terrain, which includes river channels and dense forest areas, is ideal for drone infiltration, arms dumping and crossings. This area has historically been used for terror logistics by ISI and Khalistani operatives due to its proven track record in cross-border terror movements. Notably, the Dinanagar attack, where the 3 Pakistani terrorists infiltrated via Gurdaspur sector and multiple drone arms drops from 2020 to 2024, underline this risk. Intel sources have confirmed that Punjab Police, along with central agencies, intercepted over 40 drones in Gurdaspur region in 2023, further substantiating the area's role in terror logistics. DGP Punjab also affirmed that terror modules are increasingly utilizing Gurdaspur's forests and farmland edges to establish cold dumps of arms and explosives intended for activation months later by sleeper modules, following instructions from Pakistani handlers. Investigations indicate that Gurdaspur harbors radicalized sympathizers linked to former jailed prisoners, diaspora-funded handlers and families associated with the ISYF, which facilitates a cross-border smuggling chain for safe passage of drone payload retrieval and human operatives. Now, according to top intel sources, Gurdaspur holds critical importance for Khalistani terror groups and the ISI. CNN News 18 elaborated on the strategic significance of Gurdaspur for these operatives and hybrids associated with Canada-based handlers, highlighting its border proximity and terrain advantages. Investigations show Gurdaspur has radicalized sympathizers linked to former jail prisoners, diaspora-funded handlers, and ISYF-linked families. Existence of cross-border smuggling chain facilitates safe passage for drone payload retrieval and human operatives. Gurdaspur's Dera Baba Nanak corridor connects to Kartarpur Sahib in Pakistan, and this area is used for potential radical preaching. This is also used for propaganda exchanges and message couriers posing as pilgrims. Central Intelligence has continuously warned that this will be misused for religious corridors by ISI to legitimize Khalistani narrative. Also sending communication devices, pen drives or route maps. ISI handlers operating from Lahore, Multan and Bahawalpur regularly brief Harvinder Singh Rinda. Rinda then directs India-based operatives via encrypted chats. Gurdaspur remains the first point receiving station for these modules specifically for arms recovery. Then they transport to main districts of Bhatinda, Moga, Ludhiana. Gurdaspur continues to be a critical frontier in the Pakistan-backed proxy war targeting Punjab's security. And this arms recovery shows the shift towards long-term storage and sleeper cell strategy. Terror groups have deviated from their earlier quick delivery terror mode. So we've got to be on high alert. Now, viewers, quickly shifting tack, Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the final leg of his Five Nation visit, and he's back in the continent of Africa after being conferred with Brazil's highest civilian award, the Grand Collar of the National Order of the Southern Cross. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has received Namibia's highest civilian honor, the Order of the Most Ancient Welwitschia Mirabilis. The Order of the Most Ancient Welwitschia Mirabilis is the highest civilian award of Namibia. The award was established in 1995, shortly after Namibia gained independence in 1990, to recognize distinguished service and leadership. Named after the Welwitschia Mirabilis, a unique and ancient desert plant endemic to Namibia, the order symbolizes resilience, longevity, and the enduring spirit of the Namibian people. This makes it the 27th award for Prime Minister Modi and the 4th award in this ongoing tour. Several MOUs have been signed between Bharat and Namibia. The first MOU on setting up of the Entrepreneurship Development Center in Namibia. The second one on cooperation in the field of health and medicine. There's an announcement on launching of digital payment system in Namibia later this year as an outcome of the signing of the UPI technology licensing agreement between the NPCI and the Bank of Namibia back in April 2024. Prime Minister Narendra Modi fast emerging as a global statesman. And let's understand this. Why? 27 highest civilian honors conferred on Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In 2025, the Order of the Most Ancient Welwitschia Mirabilis, the latest from Namibia, and we'll go back in descending order for the latest first. Then before that, just recently in this tour itself, the Grand Collar of the National Order of the Southern Cross from Brazil. Prime Minister underlined that the accolade would inspire the people of the two countries to further deepen their warm and friendly ties. The Order of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago was also conferred on him. The Order of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, ORTT, is the highest honor of Trinidad and Tobago. Established in 2008, it replaced the Trinity Cross as the decoration for the distinguished and outstanding service to the country. Distinguished and outstanding service to Trinidad and Tobago, that's what's the weight, the highest civilian award of this nation. Then the Officer of the Order of Star of Ghana, PM dedicated this honor to the aspirations of our youth, their promising future, our rich cultural diversity and traditions, and the enduring historical bonds between Bharat and Ghana. The Grand Cross of the Order of Makarios III of Cyprus, Mitra Vibhushan, a medal by Sri Lanka, Grand Commander of the Order of the Star and the Key of the Indian Ocean of Mauritius. All these in 2025. 2024, the Order of Mubarak Al-Kabir of Kuwait, the Order of Excellence of Guyana, Honorary Award of Freedom of Barbados, the Award of Dominica Award of Honor, the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, Order of St. Andrews, the Apostle, Order of the Druk Gyalpo of Bhutan, Druk Gyalpo of Bhutan. 2023, the Grand Cross of the Order of Honor by Greece, Grand Cross of the Legion of Honor by France, Order of the Nile by Egypt, Companion of the Order of Fiji, Grand Companion of the Order of Logohu by Papua New Guinea, Ibaki Award by Papua New Guinea. In 2020, he was conferred the Legion of Merit by the US government. 2019, the Order of Zayed from UAE, Order of the Distinguished Rule of Nishan-e-Zuddin by Maldives, King Hamad Order of the Renaissance from Bahrain. In 2018, the Grand Collar of the State of Palestine. 2016, the State Order of Ghazi Amir Amanullah Khan from Afghanistan. 2016, the King Abdulaziz Sash from Saudi Arabia. 27 and counting. Is there another world leader who's received these kind of accolades? There is a reason why. We will also get into that. Namibia's strategic importance and significance, once again caught in the China debt trap. Is Bharat going to help them out? That's what we have to wait and watch. Let's listen in to what PM Modi had to say.
मेरा बिलिज से सम्मानित किया जाना मेरे लिए अत्यंत गर्व और सम्मान की बात है। मैं राष्ट्रपति जी का नामीबिया की सरकार और नामीबिया के लोगों का हृदय से आभार प्रकट करता हूं।
Co-presented by This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Absolutely, Akash. Continue to stay with us. Rather unfortunate as we are learning of this Jaguar fighter crash that has happened. This is in the Churu district of Rajasthan. We are awaiting more details, but worrying sort of first instances that are coming to light, as you can see in these visuals, where we see the wreckage that is spilled over in this patch of land. It has in fact scattered. Was it a mid-air crash? What resulted in the crash? All of those details are right now being ascertained. But let's take a look at this possible flight trajectory, where this Indian Air Force Jaguar jet really was going to. Did it in fact fly out of the Bikaner Air Base? For all those details, my colleague Toya Singh is joining us live from the CNN News 18 newsroom. Toya?
Hi, Griha. We want to draw our audience's attention right now to where this incident actually happened. So we're telling our audience it happened in Ratnagar, and we'll just zoom in a second. This is obviously a tehsil in the Churu district, and we'll bring you more context in a second. But first, as you can see, this is how far it is from Bikaner. We wanted to show you, just to zoom in a little bit to how close it was. But over here, this is the Ratnagar area, and this jet, as we're talking about, has clearly gone down somewhere in the field areas. So we'll show you more context as it comes in. But this is obviously taking place in the Ratnagar region. It's a tehsil, it's a district, as you can see, in Rajasthan, a little while away from Bikaner. So that's exactly where this crash has happened. Over to you.
Right, Toya, thank you so much for that. So Toya, through that satellite imagery, was fairly giving you a sense of how far this crash really took place from the township of Ratnagar. And the proximity really will be able to tell you the story of how ghastly this entire incident could have gone on to become. This crash eventually happened in this open field. We're constantly putting out these visuals. But there were villagers who came to this crash site. They in fact saw what happened, and they were very, very close to where the wreckage fell and did not fall on one particular spot. The plane disintegrated, we are told, the jet disintegrated, and these are parts, certain body parts also of possibly the pilot on board in that fighter jet also were found by many of these onlookers. To explain this better, we have our defense correspondent Akash, who has been tracking all the developments of this rather unfortunate piece of news that we're tracking out of Rajasthan. Akash, you were telling us earlier how this is the third Jaguar crash that has been reported in the country, but the very first one in Rajasthan. Rajasthan so far has seen MiG-29 and MiG-21 crashes, flying coffins, like our colleague Bhavani was also mentioning about them. But this one in particular, what might have caused this crash? What is the initial response of the Indian Air Force?
There can be some technical malfunctioning, Griha. There can be some other possible scenarios as well. And only court of inquiry will ascertain as to what went wrong. But this is for the benefit of our viewers as to what has happened. So we are learning about one plane crash, one crash in Churu of Rajasthan, where people have noticed wreckages and in fact some sort of air activity as well, where they were talking about a burning object, possibly the fighter plane, and where they are in fact talking about one dead body. So we are not drawing a conclusion, but a casualty is also expected in this particular case. However, we are learning that district administration has in fact reached on the particular site. Indian Air Force's team is very much going on to particular site. An official statement, in fact, is expected in some time from now, where we are learning that Indian Air Force will come out with an official statement. What was the platform? What was the nature of the crash? And also, as far as court of inquiry is concerned, so whether or not it has been started, and
Good evening, you're watching Brass Tacks. I'm Zakir Jacob. There was an unfortunate crash of an Indian Air Force trainer aircraft, Jaguar, over Churu in Rajasthan today. Both the pilot and the co-pilot are dead. A court of inquiry has been established to find out what led to this crash. This is not the first or second. This is the third time there's been a crash involving the Jaguar trainer in just the calendar year of 2025. Earlier, there was a crash in Ambala in Haryana, and then there was one in Jamnagar in Gujarat.